Hey YouTube, it's EmmaBoys10 here, and this is my thoughts and opinions on the official Yu-Gi-Oh ban list. Yep, the official Yu-Gi-Oh ban list has finally come out in the yugioh, and I like this list, I have to admit. It's a good list. Very happy. They hit a lot of the things that I think Konami actually did listen to what the player wanted, basically, and looked at really getting rid of a lot of the overpowerful cards that were causing a lot of decks to be very, very top tier and almost unbeatable, really. So, well, let's hope it lasts really with Konami, but we'll have to wait and see. So anyway, I'll just go through what cards, give my thoughts and opinions as you know, and see how it goes. So enjoy. Okay, banned or forbidden, Brionic, Dragon of the Expire, and Future Fusion. Now, this was pretty much predicted by a lot of people because Brionic was one of the few level 6 or a few lower level synchro monsters that pretty much everybody could use. It had no limitations on the synchro tuners needed to get into it. There was no real limitation to its cost. It was very good at clearing the field and comboing with a lot of cards that were already in hand or that were sent to the graveyard and everything. So it was a good wee card to have out for it was just a good wee card to have out for one of those moments. If you could get into it, you could get into it, and it could pretty much change the field round pretty quickly, to tell you the truth. So now both its big brother Trishula and Brionic are both now onto the ban list now, and I don't think they'll be coming off anytime soon, unfortunately. Forgive me if you hear any shouting outside. That's our neighbours' wee ones are outside, so forgive me for that. So yeah, everybody was predicting it. So there's only a few low level synchros that people might be using now. Catastrophe might be one of them. Level 6 wise, there's probably Gaia, the Champion of Earth, or I think it's called. Then there's of course Iron Chain Dragon, the 25 level 6 beast stick, and Orient Dragon, which is another option really to use. Future Fusion, about time I would say. Future Fusion was just becoming too abusable with the dragons really. I mean, Future Fusion was never really a big problem. It was only a problem when the machines first came out, obviously. But for the machines at least, all they had was Chimeritic Fortress or Chimeritic Overdragon. Can't remember which one it was. One of those two. That was the big killer. But now that nobody hardly ever uses that kind of deck anymore, Future Fusion was pretty much untouched for a little while until, of course, the Chaos Dragons came out and they just abused the hell out of it. And of course, some element, as I said in my previous video, some elemental hero decks used Future Fusion's ability to get out big beat sticks with Miracle Fusion and everything on top of that. So it's about time. It's about time it got banned. Really, it was just too good a card to have out. I mean, it just started off a lot of really deadly combos as soon as it was played. It was counterable, but if people got it on their first turn, you were pretty much screwed, in other words. So yeah, sad to see it go, but it was predicted and it's gone now, so oh well. Okay, limited now. We've got Insector Hornet, Insector Dragonfly, Ultimate Offering, Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, Tsukiyomi, Chaos Sorcerer, Gishki Kraken, Spore, and Zen Mighty. Now, with the Insectors, I was surprised both of them were hit to limited. To be honest, I was thinking either one would get limited, such as maybe Dragonfly, and Hornet would be semied, more than likely because Dragonfly is what mainly starts off the chain. But for both of them to be hit, that's going to severely cripple the Insectors, to say the least. Of course, Centipede was not hit, but that's okay, so it's probably going to be something like play one Dragonfly, 3 Centipede or something. So the deck is quite crippled in its way that it can't get you a +4 on the field anymore. But it's still a deadly deck, and more than likely somebody's going to combine this with another engine that is going to come back or something, or another older engine, and still make a deadly hybrid, basically, I think. So at least the Insectors were hit this time. Ultimate Offering, I'm not surprised. I was thinking that might go stay semi or even go down, because as I said, there's a new machine monsters coming out called the yugioh, I think. Oh, I can't remember what they're called. I'm so sorry about that. As I said, combined with the gadgets, they were pretty deadly, and there was also a few other decks that were abusing the power of it. So just to slow down those decks a little bit. Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. About time. Well, actually, this is the first time it's ever been hit by the ban list, but it's the big dragon that causes a lot of plays with dragon decks and everything, and a lot of poor dragon players are probably going to be really bitching about this, saying, oh, my hopeless dragon deck is dead, or my chaos variant is dead. And it's like, well, not really. You've still got one. You can still abuse its power. You've still got like Light Pulsar, which hasn't been hit, which can still resurrect it. She's still got that loop going, and you've also still got the Red Eyes Wyverns to resurrect it and everything as well. So yeah, it's going to sound weird, but I knew if dragons ever got, I felt like if dragons ever did get really big, that card would definitely be hit, because it's just too easy to use, too easy to abuse, and too easy to use combos with. So it's finally been hit. So oh well. Thankfully it doesn't affect me at all, because as you know, I never use Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, so I don't really have to be bothered by that card. Right, Tsukuyomi. This has not been off the ban list for a very, very long time. It's a spirit monster. When it's summoned or flip summoned, it can it's like a Book of Moon basically built into the monster. It's a spirit monster. A lot of people would consider that slow nowadays, but it's actually, because its effect can activate when flipped, it might be a good option to use alongside the Book of Moon. You know, because Book of Moon is a very good card for playing, and Tsukuyomi might be good as well, just because your opponent attacks into it, it gets flipped, you can flip down another monster that's about to attack you, or it's about to use its effect or something if you can, and because it's spirit and it returns to your hand, it can be reusable, but some people would still consider that slow, but I can see it still being used quite a bit just because of its flippability, because flippabilities obviously are very good. Chaos Sorcerer. Classic yo-yo card, constantly going from semied to limited and everything depending on what deck abuses the chaos power in the format. Obviously it was Chaos Dragons mainly, but in all honesty, all the top decks were abusing the powers of chaos, whether using a BLS in there or one or two copies of Chaos Sorcerer, depending if they could use it, because it's just a very good little card. It's a little brother to the Blackluster Soldier, so if the Blackluster Soldier goes, you've got that as a backup, or you can use that ability, or you can use that monster's ability first and then get out your Blackluster Soldier later to do extra damage. So I would say that's a classic yo-yo card, because it keeps going, you know, semi-limited and all that. So yeah, it's about time it got limited, because having two of them in the deck and being used against you was frustrating to say the least. Gishki Kraken, I know that's a ritual monster for the Gishkis, where it allows you to look at two cards in the opponent's hand and then shuffle back into the deck. I haven't seen any Gishki monsters played over here, but apparently they're quite good in Japan. So, and that was quite a good little card to ban, but just because it could really mess up the opponent's hand. I mean, anything that messes up the hand, like, it's like a mini trap dust shoot, I suppose I could call it, in a way. But it's a ritual monster, you have to tribute for it and everything, so some people aren't too keen on that nowadays. You know, they don't like using ritual monsters, even with all the ritual support that is out there. Very few people use it, but if it's been used quite a bit in Japan, then obviously there's probably going to be ideas or something going around. Spore! At least it wasn't Glowbulb. Glowbulb would be still far too abusable because of its ability, but Spores are probably a better idea. It gives plants a little bit of power, but even so, I don't think anybody's going to be using very many synchros now, since Brionac has just been nuked, basically. Zen Mighty. Now, I have to admit, I've not had very much experience with a Zen Mighty, except for once or twice in wind-ups, so I'm not too entirely sure, but it was quite a good card for the wind-ups, so it's limiting that, which was what some wind-ups mainly used to exceed into, was a good idea, because obviously it slows them down a little bit, it'll make them use other exceeds instead of overpowering themselves, so yeah, not too bad. So in that sense, those two main decks, the Chaos, the Insector and the wind-ups, have been hit in a way to slow them down enough so they won't be too much of a bother for the next format. Okay, semi-limited now. We have Tour Guide, Mirror Force, Reasoning, A Hero Lives, Heractic Seal of Convocation, Pot of Duality, Emergency Call, Kalut the Moon Shadow, Rescue Rabbit, Debris Dragon and the Agent of Mystery Earth. Right, Tour Guide. I was actually very surprised. I I know Reborn Tengu was a TCG exclusive. However, everybody predicted it would be coming out in Japan, hence why it got hit by the ban list. But nobody, I don't think anybody really expected Tour Guide to get hit. Everybody was expecting at least Sangan to get hit by the ban list, at least Forbidden at least. But no, they've decided to slow down the engine that actually causes the Sangan plays, which is Tour Guide. So very interesting. This could also mean that Tour Guide might be coming out in the OCG very soon. We don't know, but it slows down that engine a little bit, so you can't abuse your rank 3s and everything too easily, or synchro 6s or whatever too easily as well. So fair enough. Very surprised, but about time, I would say. If Konami are starting to look at both sides of the coin and saying, right, they're being unfair with this card on that side where they haven't got it, so we'll limit it there, then that's fine, fair enough. If they're paying attention to both sides, then that's good, because that's obviously listening to the players and taking into account what it is that's winning on the TCG side and what it is that's winning on the OCG side, and balancing them both out, so when both sides get it, nobody can complain. Mirror Force to 2, oh my god. That's actually quite scary, to say the least. I mean, I love Mirror Force, it's my favourite trap card in the entire game. But 2 now, especially when you've got 3 MSTs, your Heavy Storm and your Night Beams, I mean, more than likely your first Mirror Force will get hit, but you've got a second one back up to play for later. Yeah. There's a possibility some people might use 2, but Mirror Force isn't used that lot nowadays just because it would get blown up before, but now at 2 you've got a backup, more than likely it will see play again. Reasoning. This is the card where you have to pick a level, I think, of a monster and then special summon it if it's the right number once you pick it up from the deck or something, I think. It's interesting, that's not been semied for quite a while, but I think there's a cost of you have to tribute a monster for it, I think, or something, I'm not too sure. But it'd be interesting to see. I mean, some decks might be able to use this quite a bit because there are some deck archetypes, I think like in sectors and that, most of them are level 3s and 4s, so you could probably predict what level you're actually going to draw. And stuff like that, so it's very interesting to see that. A Hero Lives. I'm not too familiar with this card, I'm afraid. I'm not too sure about it, but it's obviously to slow down the element of hero decks, which have been very big in Japan. They've been big over here too, but not as big, you know, if you see what I mean. So at least it slows down a little bit. Hieratic Seal of Convocation. Hieratics have been combined with Chaos Dragons, I've heard, and they're also quite a good deck in Japan. So obviously that just adds your hieratic monster to your hand, so it's slowing them down a bit. It's like the E-Emergency Call and all that. Next is E-Emergency Call. About time, really. They did it because, obviously because of the hero decks, again, it's just to slow them down a little bit, and stop them from being too OTK when you keep adding all the heroes you need to your hand to fuse, or get them onto the field to fuse and everything. Pot of Duality. Now, I have to admit, I was a bit surprised at this one, to tell you the truth, because I never thought Pot of Duality would get hit, because I thought it was a very balanced card and most people only ever use 2 anyway, most of the time. There's some decks that do use 3 because they're pretty comfortable with it and everything, that's fair enough, but a lot of deck lists I did see in the OCG and also in the TCG were using 3, and a lot of decks now, some of the deck abilities, some of them don't have to special summon, but if they do get the right card to get a combo going that doesn't require special summon, then obviously it was being too helpful. So yeah, I was very surprised to get hit. I thought it would get hit by the ban list like several years ago when it first came out, but obviously it wasn't considered too dangerous. But now in the decks nowadays that have combos without special summon, obviously it's really good. Kalut the Moonshadow. Now I predicted the Blackwings could possibly come back because just because you know, Blackwings haven't been seen in the TCG anyway, but they have been seen in the OCG. So it's basically Kalut is basically an honest like Blackwing for the Blackwings, so might see some Blackwings come back now that they've got another bit of a power boost, but I don't know yet. Rescue Rabbit. Konami, as I said, Konami have done a good job. They've hit all the decks that have been top tier, been too fast and overpowered, and Rescue Rabbit was one of them. I predicted it. Some people were expecting it to be limited, but semi's good. But this might mean that more than likely, if it's still really good for next format, it probably will be, because 2 Rescue Rabbit's still pretty good to get the deck going. More than likely it could go limited next format, depending on how the deck does. And with the Rescue Rabbit being used in several decks, I've seen it called Rescue Knights, being used with the Gem Knights. There's of course the standard Rescue Rabbit with the dinosaurs. So yeah, not too bad. Debris Dragon at 2, again very interesting. I kind of predicted this might happen because a lot of people are all X-Seeds now. Konami's trying to push the X-Seeds and not really care about synchros. But I know a certain someone, one of my friends, is going to be very happy that Debris Dragon's gone back to 2, because now he can use that as his main way for synchroing. So hopefully we'll be seeing a certain deck coming back, with that coming back to 2 now. Don't know yet, but fingers crossed for that. I look forward to it. And if this person knows what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Agent of Mystery Earth. Again, I predicted that would possibly come back because agents weren't played because they are considered too slow, but now they've got a little bit of speed again. So more than likely we're going to see agents coming back in, or fairy decks coming back in some way. So yeah. Unlimited now. Nico Gardner, Marshmallow, E-Teleport or Emergency Teleport, Destiny Draw, Sword of Revealing Light, Levit Limit Area B, and Magic Cylinder. Nico Gardner. 2 words. Lightsworns. Lightsworns are probably going to be coming back because of Nico Gardner, just because obviously it's too good in the graveyard when it was at 3 before, but it was severely crippled the Lightsworns, who then turned into Twilight, and now it's going to be pure Lightsworn again probably. Especially now you've still got your Judgment Dragon still at 3, Lumina at 2, and Rykos and everything still at 3 as well. Marshmallow, that was coming. But the thing is, even though Marshmallow's a burn effect is a pain in the neck, and its ability to be indestructible to battle is a pain in the neck, the thing is, with a lot of cards nowadays, it's just easily nuked nowadays. So burn damage is a pain in the neck, yes, but it's easy to get around with a lot of cards nowadays. Emergency Teleport. I can see Telidad definitely coming back. Now mind you, I've never played against Telidad, I've never actually been in the Telidad format, but I've heard a lot about it. A lot of people are saying they're going to play Telidad. So yeah, Dark Arm Dragon's still at 1, but that doesn't stop you from still abusing the power of the psychics and dark monsters that combine well with the psychics. So yeah. Destiny Draw. I mean, yes, there's Elemental Heroes, but very few people play Destiny Heroes nowadays, so yeah. Interesting. We might see Destiny Heroes come back if somebody finds a good engine with them, or a good combo with them or something. Be interesting to see. Swords of Revealing Light, oh my goodness. Wow. Very interesting. Straight from Semi or Limited, wherever it was before, I can't remember in all honesty, straight back to Unlimited. This is going to be interesting. Very good for stall decks who want to stall. But the thing is, as I said, we still have Heavy Storm, we still have 3 MST, and we've now got 3 Night Beam. Just too easily destroyed now, so yeah, but still good for stall decks, really. Levit Limit Area B. Everybody's all about attack, aggression. Very few decks rely on stall and burning. The only good deck that's used to burn is basically chain burns. There's basic burn decks that some people do use, but very few people focus on just stall nowadays. In all honesty, it's mostly everybody's all aggression and all that. So Levit Limit Area B to stop level 4s and aboves from attacking, going into defense mode and all that. But the other thing is, a lot of cards, or low level cards, that do a lot of combos, like Rescue Rabbits and the Insectors and the Wind-Ups, they're all below level 4 anyway, so they wouldn't be affected. It's things like the Chaos Dragons and some aspects of Rescue Rabbit would be affected by this, but as I said, everybody's all about aggression now. Very few people are playing defensive. Magic Cylinder to 3. Oh my god, that is going to be a pain in the neck, to say the least. Summon Blue Eyes, attack, Magic Cylinder. What? Okay, Blue Eyes attack again, Magic Cylinder. Ooh, game ender, more like. To say the least. I mean, I've had a couple of games where I've gone up against a Magic Cylinder and it's cost me the game. Having 3 would be a pain in the neck. Very good for burn decks, very good for stall decks, but the thing is, again, it could be easily, it's like the Mirror Force, it could be easily destroyed by a lot of combos nowadays. As I said, I don't even need to repeat the 3 magic and trap removal cards. You know what they are. You know, they would probably get to the magic cylinder before you can use it, but it's still a good little backup to have just in case. But 3 magic cylinder, ouch. That could possibly, I wouldn't be surprised if that might get hit again next format if it ends games, you know, if people decide to use like 2 or 3 or whatever, but I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see what happens with this format. Anyway guys, that is the ban list there. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is just my thoughts and opinions on the ban list. As I said, I think Konami have done a very good job this time. They've actually listened to the players. They've actually taken into account what is actually been deadly this format, what actually needs to get sorted. So yeah, and also as I said, with the fact that they've been hitting some TCG exclusives for the past couple of formats, seems to indicate they want to try and bring balance to the game. You know, that it's unfair that the TCG should have this while the OCG don't, and trying to make it fair for both sides of the thing, which I think is fair enough. So let's just hope Konami actually keep listening to the players and, you know, hopefully keep the game good. But as I said, a lot of the top tier decks are going to be pretty badly slowed down, but that doesn't mean they're dead or anything. They're still going to be pretty good. You just have to find other ways of making them faster again. So yeah, but interesting list. I think it's a very good list. Thankfully it doesn't affect me very badly, except for one card which I do have in the deck, but you'll probably be seeing that in the tournament videos when I get when I go to the next tournament. There is one card in there that does need to go, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm just going to be a tease. As I said, I'm not going to do any deck videos until after September 1st when I do edit or after the next tournament when I do edit Blue Eyes again. So you'll probably see 1 or 2 cards in there that have been hit by the ban list. I don't know yet. I think that's everything I need to talk about now. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that, and we'll see you in the next video. So take care and see you later. Bye!